Research has shown that risk factors like traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder, commonly found in military veterans, can significantly increase the likelihood of developing Alzheimer's or dementia. In 2015, nearly 500,000 veterans were reported to be living with Alzheimer's disease. It's a number that continues to increase as the population ages. Since 2012, the Alzheimer's Association has been following this growing evidence of military-related risk factors for dementia. Earlier, I spoke with the co-author of their latest report, Dr. Michael Jaffee, Vice Chair of the University of Florida's Department of Neurology and former National Director, Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. He tells us more about their findings and what it could mean for millions of current servicemen and women. Hi, Dr. Jaffee. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, Pam.
So you co-authored this paper related to Alzheimer's and veterans. There was a meeting that took place back in 2012 of all of these experts related to brain injury, to neurology, to Alzheimer's. You met again in December of 2016. Now you've put this report together. Tell us what you've learned.
I think we're continuing to learn some important aspects about this relationship between veterans and the incidence of dementia. And in 2012, most of the work that was done at that point really focused on identifying that there was a relationship between military service and various military risk factors and development of dementia in later life. And what we really found when we went back and looked at the state of the science, and this meeting was actually put together by the Alzheimer's Association, who has a great interest in this topic, we were able to kind of get a much greater visibility and window into the mechanisms of the actual changes that were happening in the brain that were allowing the development of dementia in these military members who had served. And so I think now we're not only learning about that the relationship exists, but exactly why it's happening. And the hope is that this will open up windows of understanding that will allow us to make more meaningful interventions to provide treatments to both those veterans and their families.
What kinds of things, doctor, happen to a person that are signs that he or she is coming down with either dementia or Alzheimer's? And how is that different in somebody who is a veteran compared to somebody else who didn't serve in the military and also comes down with Alzheimer's disease?
That's a great question. So one of the things that they would share in common is some decline in memory and attention. Some additional findings that was also of note in the veteran population is that they would also have some abnormalities in what's called executive functions, which basically means the ability to multitask or to carry out different items at once. Some of the aspects that we feel are risk factors that are affecting the military service members more has to do with the issue of concussions and traumatic brain injury, as well as the possible risk from post-traumatic stress disorder. And one of the things that we're finding is that for many of the veterans who are suffering from this, if they're suffering from symptoms of both, it turns out that might have an additive effect on their risk, and that many of the veterans who are suffering from this may have some additional emotional challenges because of the comorbid post-traumatic stress issues that they may also be dealing with.
Yeah, I would imagine part of your investigation here is finding out if traumatic brain injury and PTSD kind of help push this along, correct?
That's exactly right, and that's what we're finding is that they do appear to be associated with an increased risk in the development, and kind of the next stage is understanding exactly what changes are happening from those veterans who've been exposed to either recurrent traumatic brain injuries, a moderate to severe brain injury, or are continuing to suffer from the effects of post-traumatic stress. And once we can understand the mechanisms of what these things are actually doing inside the brain, we're hoping we can make more meaningful interventions more quickly in the course.
Now, you are a neurologist. You're also a retired Air Force colonel. You spent 21 years in the military. Tell us about that time of service and working with men and women while you were in the military, because you spent time overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan working with patients there as well, correct?
I did, and I got to see firsthand how care was being provided on the battlefield for our service members who had sustained these injuries. And I took that knowledge and experience home with me when I came home from deployment, and then I had the privilege of serving as the National Director of the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center, where we coordinated efforts between the Department of Defense and the VA to improve sort of the guidelines and standardize the quality of care for our service members injured on the battlefield. And so most of our efforts were really focused on that initial point of care management, trying to do the best we could in terms of better identifying them early and providing treatments that they might need early. And what this study is now focusing on is for those individuals, as we follow them over time, what can we do to kind of better handle the more lasting effects that they might have from those injuries?
Yeah, and we saw too, one of the statistics here is about 500,000 veterans suffer from either dementia or Alzheimer's. This is really a big problem for this community, isn't it?
It is. We're beginning to understand the scope. We are concerned about that this will continue. Since 2008, there's been a 22% increase in our veterans who've been diagnosed with dementia, and this has become a major issue for our veterans who've served and their families, as well as our VA system.
Before we let you go, what would you tell us would be the short-term goal here and then perhaps the long-term goal when it comes to fighting AD?
So I think the short-term goal from what we learned is because of the risks is that we need to be more diligent in screening our veterans and service members who've served so that we can identify any early changes, and the earlier we can identify this, and we'd like to be able to try and affect the things that might be worsening it and provide treatments early. So the early thing that we can do is advocate for early screening and detection whenever our veterans encounter the healthcare system. For the long term, I think one of the things that we have found is that from the early aspects, we've identified the association. From the most recent research that was reviewed at the state-of-the-art science held by the Alzheimer's Association, we're learning about some of the windows of the changes happening inside the brain, everything from genetic changes to inflammation to the clearance of tau and waste products. And what we need to do in the future is follow longitudinally our service members and veterans over time so we can see exactly how these changes occur and at what stage they occur. And that, I believe, will open up the window for more meaningful treatments and possibly development of new, more effective treatments for this dementia population.
Dr. Michael Jaffee, thank you so much for all of your work and your research in this area, and thank you for your service to our country. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. It's a real privilege.
And do you have a comment or a question about the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease in veterans? We'd like to hear from you. Send us your take on this or any other topic that matters most to you. You can reach us by email or via our Twitter or Facebook page @YourSouthFL. Leave us a comment or post a video. We look forward, as always, to hearing from you.